Welcome to Public Audits, a show that exposes bad police behavior, teaches about the law, and fights for people's rights. Today's video comes from I Spy Audits, so be sure to check his channel and subscribe. In this story, I Spy stops at a BP gas station and tries to pay with a £20 coin made by the Royal Mint. It's real money in the UK, but the workers refuse it and call the police. What should have been a small misunderstanding turns into an arrest, even though no crime happened. The officer who arrives quickly proves she has no idea how to handle it.
It's a £20 coin.
Never seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from.
Have you got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person at the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do?
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or?
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just didn't know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay. Is there a reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. But we can deal with it a different way, but obviously, ultimately, you haven't paid.
The auditor sees the officer's body camera and asks why she didn't say she was recording. Police rules clearly say officers must tell people right away when filming. Instead of admitting that, she denies it. Then she demands the auditor's name, even though this is a civil issue, not a crime. She has no legal right to ask for ID when no offense happened. The officer herself admits it's a civil matter, but still tries to act like she has power to force ID. That's not how police are supposed to work.
I have.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up to them to accept it. If they decline...
They've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue, but if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve a civil issue at a later date? If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a civil issue, that's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But we don't know your details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue, then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is.
It's
not a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I have paid. I've gave them.
But you've gave them this coin, yeah, which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, yeah. Agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today whether we take your...
She can't turn a normal payment argument into a police ID check just because the cashier is upset. When she said he could be wanted, she was bluffing. Wanted only applies to real crimes, not to store disagreements. Using that kind of threat shows she knew she had no legal reason to demand anything. If she really thought a crime happened, she should have checked for dishonesty or intent to not pay. But the man stayed, tried to pay, and simply disagreed about how to pay. That's civil, not criminal. Then another officer comes in and makes things worse, jumping straight to arrest threats even though the auditor never tried to leave.
So basically, he's trying to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter. However, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. No. He's obviously not really... can't want him to do that at the minute.
Because it's a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But you're still going to make off, aren't you? Technically without payment, but if we can get your details...
But I have paid.
But you haven't...
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Has he paid?
Policy? No, he hasn't.
Right, if you haven't paid, and if you walk out the door now...
They've still got the money though.
Just let me finish. If you walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them.
Well, I do.
Because it's a civil issue.
But it's not, because a make off without payment is then a police matter.
He never tried to run off without paying, so there was no making off crime. He even tried to pay with a real £20 coin, but the cashier refused it. That alone proves he wasn't avoiding payment. The law says both leaving and intending to not pay must happen for it to be a crime, and neither did. The officers kept warning, if you leave, But he never left. He was still there, talking and trying to pay. They weren't reacting to what was real. They were reacting to a story they made up.
So if you walk out that door now, it is. If you walk out that door now, you'll be getting arrested for make off without payment.
But there is an agreement with BP that the coin can be used.
Is there any other way that you can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a normal human being.
No,
however, we need
I don't intend to. No,
I appreciate
if you
that.
can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details, and we can deal with it at a slower time. We can offer you that. But if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
we don't know where you live. You might not even be from around here. I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean. We have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details, and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
Which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the fuel. Which one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. We've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, and we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where you live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, you don't have your details, you don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable, so really you haven't paid at the minute.
The officers also said they couldn't confirm who he was without his ID, but his car number plate was right outside. They could have checked that. Instead, they kept demanding his name for no reason. By turning a simple argument into an arrest threat, they only made things worse. The auditor even showed proof that BP said the coin was valid, but the officer ignored it. She demanded he called BP himself, or else it would become a police matter. That's nonsense. He didn't have to prove anything for her. The police are supposed to check facts, not force citizens to do their job.
I have, because I've handed the coin over. Right. So I haven't got that in my possession, and I've contacted BP head office before coming here.
Right, and was that today then, or?
No.
So when was that then? So you've contacted BP head office before you've come in?
Correct.
Right, so did you contact them today, or was it yesterday, or last week, or?
It's not up to me to say that.
How's it money?
Do you understand what the £20 coin is?
No, that's why I'm confused.
Well, why are you threatening me for arrest then, if you don't know?
Because it's not money.
It is.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. At the end
you don't know that. It is. It's legal tender, the same as a £20 note and a £10 note.
Right, and who did you speak to from the BP garage, the manager?
It's a Royal Mint who issued that £20 coin.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same money as any other money.
If you get someone on the phone to me who you've spoken to earlier, then we could kind of end the matter here, can't we?
But if it's a civil issue, I don't need to assist you.
But at the minute we don't know it's a civil matter.
But I don't need to assist you in a civil issue.
But you do, because it then turns into a police matter because we don't know that.
When she said, "We don't know that coin," it just showed how wrong she was. The £20 Royal Mint coin is legal money. If she doesn't know that, it's her problem, not his. Then things turned from silly to serious. The officers arrested him for making off without payment while he was still standing in the store saying, "I haven't left." That one line should have ended it. The law says you must both leave and mean to not pay for it to count as a crime, but neither happened. He offered real payment and was still arguing his case.
But if it's a civil agreement,
you're running the risk of being arrested because you haven't given us his details, and you're going to walk out that door, and it's technically a failure to pay.
But then it'll be a civil. But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
Unlawful arrest.
Like I said, we've been honest with you in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest. Okay, and all I'm saying is, if you get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But as far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, it's going to be make without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, haven't accepted to take it. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
You give us your details.
You're refusing to give us your details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not.
But I've told you.
Is it urgent?
That he said he would take the coin.
But he isn't.
If I take my mask off.
Right, well I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for you've got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with it that way. For all I know, that vehicle could register somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you?
But I don't need to assist you.
Once you leave this situation, it is making off without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you and give you some sort of options that we can go with.
But I don't need to assist you.
Are you offering to give
because you're wrong.
not myself, not my colleague, the staff, your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the background.
You can prove that at court.
I've got
Prove that at court.
That's fine, you can prove that at court.
Right, well this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't say anything,
but I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question to the little line court. Anything you do is maybe given evidence.
But I haven't made off though.
For your arrest is recorded in factual investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
You're under caution still.
And due to the fact that you failed to provide details.
But I haven't made off.
Failed to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? Are we going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you? Just take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
We just take it.
The officers knew the crime didn't exist, but arrested him anyway. Later, iSpy shared what happened. About 10 months after the arrest, he got £4,000 from the chief constable as compensation. But they never apologized, even after it went to court. The payout shows how weak the police case was. They couldn't defend their actions, so they paid instead of facing judgment.
What makes it worse is that the chief constable, the top officer, still refused to apologize. They spent taxpayer money to pay him, but couldn't admit they were wrong. That silence says everything. It shows a system that cares more about saving face than about being honest. A small disagreement over a coin turned into a full arrest because pride replaced common sense. That's not real policing, that's bullying with a badge.
The officers made up their own story as they went along. They kept saying, "What if you walk out without paying?" even though he never said he would. They built their case on imagination, not facts. That's not enforcing the law, that's bending it. This shows a bigger problem where some officers use fear instead of fairness. When police rely on threats instead of knowledge, people lose trust. If this can happen over a coin, it can happen to anyone, and that's the real danger.